But the issue of maybe just to mention, why would a whole cabinet secretary go and look for 5 or 10 jobs for Kenyans out of the country when we can create jobs here in Kenya? My thinking is when we came up with the issue of this hustler government, and we were in the campaign, we shared whatever manifesto they had given us. So, from way back in 2018. We knew that the jobs would be created here at home. That is how you grow the economy. You don't grow the economy by taking our best skills, and you see the cabinet secretary was saying the same. Yeah. That they were selecting the best. So they are taking the best out of the country and leaving us and expecting us to grow. This is not the way to grow an economy.
So, but I want us to handle just the way you mentioned it. I just want us to handle that. Yesterday, Aflred Mutua, he talked about. He said that over 20,000 Kenyans went to apply for jobs abroad, and then what is funny is that only 5. So that means that 19,995 people did not qualify.
They didn't qualify.
And then the excuse that he was giving is that these people were not well dressed for an interview. It's like they were not ready for an interview. So,
and many people are flopped. Unfortunately, you find that out of maybe 100 people interviewed, 5 are taken because of the standards are very high. You know, this is a country that is in the first world in terms of technology and the way they operate. So you have to be very good at what you do. So many people, the first day was a big joke. A few days ago, people came. I mean, you're coming for an interview wearing a hoodie. You know, people came to interview wearing sneakers. No, they can't get shoes. You know, you can even borrow a suit from somebody. People came wearing t-shirts. You know, hata singenge ni ngombe. You know, I mean, you're coming for a job interview.
No, but if I'm coming for a job, you know, to support construction.
No, I mean, these are coming for hospitality jobs. Even for construction, you need to look neat, you need to be organized, you need to wear good shoes or whatever shoes you are, you get an overall from somewhere so that as you do your wiring, you look the part, you know. And so it is a process for Kenyans to also know that looking for a job is also a job. You have to have the right figure. Today there was a young man who was annoyed because they refused to interview him because he had a beard. And he said, "Wananiambia nikanyoe, sitaki kunyoa. They should interview me hata kama beard." Wakasema, but the work you're doing, you can't go and start serving people in a restaurant, in a hotel with a beard. You know, that's the industry standards. It's like telling the military, I want to join the military, lakini nitaenda uko na rastas, nitaenda na afro. Hey, you must take me. You know what I mean? So people have to realize that you are employed to work in a company, and the company has preferences of the kind of people.
I've been asking myself this question, Mr. Dan, that how do you expect me? I don't have a job. How do you expect me to dress on well, to come for an interview? I don't have a job. I'm looking for I don't have money. And he's saying that they came with the sandals, and that is so the excuse that the way they dress, that is why they did not qualify for the jobs. What do you think?
My brother, I work in the financial services sector.
Yeah.
And one of the requirements of the people I work with, including myself, is that you should be officially dressed. In other words, you dress for the job you are doing. The issue of these people having no money to buy clothes is neither here nor there. People used to borrow clothes to go for interview. On that one, I want to agree with the cabinet secretary. When you are invited for an interview, and I invite a lot of people for interviews, and there is this habit of, it is not the clothes that work, it is the skills I have, and so on. You don't show up in my business in, say, dreadlocks. I'm not saying dreadlocks.
Just an example.
Or unkempt hair, or in ragged jeans, and expect me to take you seriously. And I've seen enough examples in where I work to know that actually the dressing is the first thing that introduces you. If I showed up here naked, for example, you would not host me on your show.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
You are also dressed very smartly in a suit and a tie, I can see. Why didn't you come in a t-shirt? And I've watched most of your interviews. I've never seen you dressed otherwise, other than in a nice suit and a tie. So on this issue of dressing, I think it is one of the important things that people take lightly. It has worked for me in many places, and it can work for you too if you dress well. So it is a choice we make. Yes, the issue of the mindset and what we have between our ears is important, but dressing is just as important. Those are some of the small things that we ignore that end up costing us. So let those young people who are going for interviews know they need to dress well. Now, if you came to me for interview and you are not properly dressed, I'll send you away.
No, Mr. Dan, you know, my problem is not even about dressing. My problem is, how do you take, like 20,000? And then another thing is that these people, you coming to interview them to go and work abroad. Yet you're saying that Kenya, there are jobs that are being created in Kenya. So the moment you're taking the people that you're saying that they're claiming to be the best abroad to go and work abroad, whom do you expect to work in these jobs that you're trying to create in Kenya?
That is another, and that is why the first thing I mentioned is one of the pillars of the campaign of the KK government before the last election was to create jobs. And remember something else they did. They went into investing in housing, affordable housing, heavily. And when we asked some of these questions, they said, actually, it is not about Kenyans being able to afford housing. We have this program so that we offer jobs to people. So wale vijana wanaenda mjengo hapo ndio wamepewa kazi. I don't know how clever that idea is.
Let's say for instance, nimeanza kujenga nyumba. Alafu hii nyumba wakati nilikuwa naanza kujenga kuna wale ambao walikuwa wanafanya kazi hapo. Sasa kwa wale ambao walikuwa wanafanya kazi hapo wakati nyumba ilikuwa inajengwa, so serikali itakuja na iseme kwamba tayari hao wako na kazi.
Yes, exactly. That is what they have been riding on.
So these people, this government is very funny. Sometimes when you do interview, when you sit down and try to reflect on some things, you ask yourself, and this is why I normally ask a lot of people during the interviews, or maybe a lot of people during the shows, that how did we end up where we are right now?
How did we end up where we are?
Yeah.
You have some idea.
Yeah, tell me. At least maybe
how we ended up there. Yeah. Is because of the narrative of the dynasty versus hustlers. That is what made us create what we call the Hustler Nation. I told you I was the organizing secretary. So I have some background information on how this thing came into being. And the biggest contributing factor to this is a lack of knowledge. Even the Bible says people perish for lack of knowledge. That is
Hosea 4:6, eh?
Yes, Hosea 4:6. Yeah. Now, people are not listening to the real reasoning. Many of us we
are going with the wave of noise.
Went with the wave of the noise. Yeah. It is hustlers versus dynasties, and some people took advantage of that.
That we cannot make rich.
We supported Ruto in good faith. In fact, the other day, his own pastor, spiritual mother. What is her name again? Teresia Wairimu. Was on national TV saying, we thought this is a God-led government, but we are now disappointed. She's not alone. A lot of us were disappointed. I gave my views some time back, many months before people started seeing this. I told them this is what is happening.
You told us about. I remember you also telling us about the story of the snake.
Exactly. The issue of the snake. Do you now agree? I told you, and this is what has happened, and there is more to come. Gachagua is now in court, right? According to the law, he's still the deputy president of the Republic of Kenya. So if anything happened to Ruto today, Gachagua will be sworn in as president, right? regardless of the impeachment, whatever.
Of
that
course,
are
yeah, of
going
course, we
on,
don't have.
We still don't. Alternatively, can we say we have 2 deputy presidents?
No, there's no country that has 2 deputy presidents.
Assuming the grade 6 kids started their exam today, assuming there is a question of who is the deputy president of Kenya today, what do you think they'll say?
Okay, they'll say Gachagua. Some will say none of the above. Yeah.
Some will say
Kindiki. Yeah.
So that is the confusion we are in. We don't know. It is a situation we have never been in. It is the first time.
Yeah.
But I'm also glad, like I said last time, that we are now testing whether our constitution can work. Can we really impeach the deputy president? And if we succeed, which I hope,
somehow it's not going to be.
Let's not go into that. But another question we should ask ourselves, once we successfully finish the process of impeaching Gachagua, can we then impeach the speaker?
The speaker.
Then what happens? Can we then impeach the president? Is it possible? Those are the tests I'm talking about. If that one works, then we will be sure even the future presidents will know
there's a constitution.
Don't joke with this constitution. It can remove you. But as things are now, we are still not sure because, the presidency is a very powerful institution. If the president decides to come after me today, I don't think I'll survive. But I don't know. Those are some of the things we keep saying and asking ourselves. But then if we keep quiet, then things will be messed up.
The president will assume, the government will assume that we know what we are contended with what's happening.